The following is an exclusive presentation of the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the AHSAA Radio Network.
Hey everybody, and welcome back into Inside the AHSAA. Thank you so much for being with us this week. Got a fantastic show lined up. Usually we do have two guests, and that's the way this show is always operated. This week, we were so excited that they released the Alabama roster for the Alabama-Mississippi AllStar game that we decided, hey, look, let's just get John Garcia from Scout.com to come on and talk about the Alabama roster and the game overall, and use him for both segments because he knows everything about that game, he knows everything about recruiting, and he just does a fantastic job. So we're going to have Mr. John Garcia from Scout.com on for two different segments. So be sure to stay tuned. He's going to talk all things Alabama roster for that All-Star game, which comes up in Hattiesburg, middle of December. It'll be another fantastic game. John Garcia is going to fill us in with it. We'll be back in just a minute to talk all about it on Inside the AHSAA.
Behind the CA?
A world full of opportunities.
Where are you now? Where are you going?
Where do you want to be?
These are all important in determining your path in life.
More importantly, why be ordinary
when you can be extraordinary?
At Central Alabama Community College, you can be anything you wish to be.
Don't put your future on hold and don't settle for less than excellence.
We are Central Alabama Community College.
Central to you.
Central to your success.
No, wrong! Bring it in, guys! Take a knee! Let's go over this again. Who starts off with a real Coke taste? Coca-Cola! And then Coca-Cola pitches the real Coke taste to who? Coca-Cola! How is Coca-Cola gonna give real Coke taste to itself? Take a lap, genius! Coca-Cola takes a snap and then pitches the real Coke taste to Coke Zero running up on the right. You got it? Yeah! At that point, we fake punt the real Coke taste. Who fakes the punt?
Coke Zero Cola.
Take a lap! Coke Zero! Real Coke taste! 0 calorie!
Hunter Price is Coosa County's Alpha Insurance agent and has the knowledge to help you with all your auto, home, and life insurance needs. With Hunter and Alpha Insurance, you have a team of professionals to access your needs, save money, and give you the personal one-on-one service in your time of need. Visit our main branch in downtown Rockford or call us at 256-377-4955 for all your insurance needs.
Call Alpha. We are Russell Medical, and this is our corner of the world, where families discover nurses and doctors as excellent as any in the state, and the embrace of world-class care is as close to home as a trip to the grocery store, where the continuity of care isn't lost in exhausting miles of road, but just down the street. We are Russell Medical, and this is our corner of the world.
Welcome back into Inside the AHSAA. Want to welcome in now my good buddy John Garcia, who is our recruiting expert for Inside the AHSAA, also for the AHSAA Scoreboard Show. John, how you doing today?
Cannot complain. It's a beautiful day. The temperature's finally started to drop across the south, so that makes me happy.
All right, I want to go ahead and put this out there so that you can straighten it out with everybody. Scout.com has merged. Can you talk about that, and has your role changed at all?
Yeah, it has, but it won't affect the state of Alabama coverage really at all. But Scout has merged with 24/7 Sports. CBS purchased 24/7 a couple years ago and purchased us on signing day, February 1st. So everything is coming together slowly but surely. So all the BamaMag.com stuff has now come together with Bama Online. So their whole team remains. Kirk McNair and his team now headed over to Bama Online. I won't be on the Bama heavy stuff as much because they've got a great recruiting team over there, but I'll be a recruiting guy regionally. So Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Southeast in general, I'll be jumping from state to state for the news and the top kids. So I'll still have plenty of overlap with the big schools for sure.
Well, John, one of the more exciting times of year in the AHSAA is always the Alabama versus Mississippi AllStar game in football. This year it's going to be in Hattiesburg, and the Alabama team has announced their roster, and they did it in a pretty cool way. They announced it sort of position by position, giving each position its own day for the most part. But any surprises to you that came out on that roster?
I think so. First of all, the more surprises and question marks we have with the roster, I think does indicate how deep the state has become. We talked about it a lot, me and you. I mean, you're talking 100 kids a year, Division I now, and that's a far cry from where it was even 10 years ago. So there's going to be sort of notable omissions no matter how you look at it, and I think that's, again, an indication of how deep the state has become. But I think the offense has a chance to be phenomenal. Great group of offensive linemen, Cameron Stutz, the Auburn commit, Tank Jenkins, a couple of 4-stars to anchor it, with some good players on the interior. We know the quarterbacks have been 3 or 4 year starters, respectively, with Jack West and James Foster. And that receiving core, my goodness. Last year we were spoiled. We got Henry Ruggs, Nico Collins, Noah Igbenogany. But this year it's right there. It might even be better with Justin Ross, Seth Williams, and those guys. So it's going to be quite fun to look at offensively. Mississippi, I should say, has got some good prospects on offense too. So we could be moving closer to maybe a higher scoring Alabama-Mississippi game. And some of them have started slowly. I just don't know how this one could with such firepower, especially on the outside with some experienced quarterbacks for Alabama.
Yeah, we said that last year too, John, and after the opening kickoff was returned by Henry Ruggs, there wasn't a lot of scoring in that game at all. But, yeah, that's something to look forward to. Hopefully this will be pretty high scoring. I remember in Hattiesburg a couple of years ago, DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown really lit up the Alabama side defensively, because those two guys are fabulous wide receivers playing for Ole Miss now. You know, one guy I want to talk about, you mentioned Seth Williams and Justin Ross. They're both awesome wide receivers. I think 5-star, 4-star type guys. There's a kid named DeMontrez Brown out of Bob Jones is headed to Troy. He has got some incredible size, 6'2", 203. Is he being undervalued somewhat?
You know, I think he's just newer to the party. You know, we've been talking about Justin Ross since he was a breakout freshman in Phoenix City. We've been talking about Shedrick Jackson for multiple years, who it's crazy. He's the smallest receiver on the Bama roster, and he's about 6'1.5", 200 pounds. So this is how big the receiving core is going to be for Alabama's side. And then Brown, he's just newer to the party. He's a guy that we heard about a little bit in the summertime, and he's really blossomed this year as a senior. He might even be able to be a tight end type in this game. So there's always sort of a flex guy who can play inside and out. And if you've got those other receivers who are so highly noted, it could be a game where somebody like him breaks out, especially if he is willing and able to play inside. And he's a big physical kid. He's got unbelievable measurables and wingspan, like you said. Committed to Troy early on, but you get the sense that with a good week, a kid like that could be one of the big beneficiaries for this game, which has become such another layer of why I love covering it. Think of Marcus Jones last year. Not a lot of people were talking about him. He has a great week against really good receivers. He gets, FBS offers, ends up at Troy, and he's starting as a true freshman, and he had a huge impact in that upset over LSU earlier this year. So this week is really big for everybody on both sides, not just the marquee guys. So I think Brown could maybe be a beneficiary like Jones was.
No Harold Joyner so far, no Tay Pruvens. Was that a shock to you?
It was. Running back, I think, is the position that you sort of look at and raise your eyebrows at most. First of all, a lot of good running backs in this class. You knew Asa Martin and the reigning Mr. Football, LaDamian Webb, were pretty much shoo-ins. But after that, there was going to be controversy almost either way. You need a fullback, so you get the kid out of Mountain Brook, who might be the third best running back on Mountain Brook's roster, oddly enough, because of the versatile Harold Joyner. Kavasier Smoke from Wetumpka's left out. I thought that was a bit surprising. And then Provins, maybe his versatility hurts him here. Is he a receiver? Is he a running back? We've been asking those questions for 2 years now, and I think maybe when it came down to it for the AHSAA, that could have hurt him as well with such a strong receiver group that we've already talked about. So there was going to be some omissions, and it's a good year at running back. And the Carlos Davis kid from up north in Muscle Shoals, he's earned it. You know, he's a kid who's had monster games. He's a steady performer. He's earned it with his senior year performance, and guys like Province and Joyner have been a little bit banged up, so they've missed a little bit of time respectively, so perhaps that factored into it as well. So going to be interesting to see. A lot of eyes will be on Davis because he's sort of the new kid on the block in terms of all those running back names, and I think he'll live up to it.
John, hang with us. We're going to do an unprecedented second segment with the same guest. You're the first one that's ever done that because there's so much to talk about with this All-Star game. We're going to take a break here on Inside the AHSAA, and we'll be right back.
Team is not something you do alone. Team is plural. Team is arms, legs, blood, sweat, and soul. A lot goes into team. But what we take away stays with us forever.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting-edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
More heart.
More drive. More will.
More guts.
More sweat.
More dedication.
More practice. More control.
More clutch.
More hard work.
More fun.
More family.
More love.
More basketball.
Baseball.
College tennis.
More every day.
More everything. More
to come.
More Wilson.
There is a strength inside you, unknown and imperfect, waiting. And when you think you have nothing left to give, when each obstacle in your path is more formidable than the last, that's when you'll find it. And with that strength, your greatness will have no limits.
Take a knee. Let's go over this again. Who starts off with a real Coke taste? Coca-Cola! And then Coca-Cola pitches the real Coke taste to who? Coca-Cola! How is Coca-Cola going to give a real Coke taste to itself? Take a lap, genius! Coca-Cola takes a snap and then pitches the real Coke taste to Coke Zero running up on the right. You got it? Yeah! At that point, we fake punt the real Coke taste. Who fakes the punt?
Coke Zero Cola.
Take a lap! Coke Zero. Real Coke taste.
0 calorie.
Where there's action, there's Encore. Professional. Responsive. Dedicated. Encore Rehabilitation.
There is a strength inside you, unknown and imperfect, waiting. And when you think you have nothing left to give, when each obstacle in your path is more formidable than the last, that's when you'll find it. And with that strength, your greatness will have no limits.
We are Russell Medical, and this is our corner of the world, where families discover nurses and doctors as excellent as any in the state, and the embrace of world-class care is as close to home as a trip to the grocery store, where the continuity of care isn't lost in exhausting miles of road, but just down the street. We are Russell Medical, and this is our corner of the world.
Welcome back Inside the AHSAA. I want to welcome in my good friend John Garcia. Had one segment with him earlier. Going to keep it going with the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Talk. John, one thing that I thought would be kind of cool eventually, I love this rivalry we have with Mississippi. But do you think it would be kind of neat to potentially do an Alabama game with maybe Georgia or Florida or even Louisiana, Tennessee, another state to kind of mix it up?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that on Twitter, and the, I guess, one-sidedness of the game recently. I think Bama won, 6 or 7 in a row.
Yep.
Before Mississippi won a couple years ago. Maybe that has created sort of a desire to go elsewhere. And like I said earlier, the state of Alabama is getting so good that I think people are curious as to whether or not it could compete against a state like Florida or Georgia, where there's just so many more people, first of all, but also just so much more talent from a traditional standpoint. And I think, I know the kids in Alabama are up for it. That's something that you never really have to question. But I think it's something that they should look at going forward. This game has been maybe the best border war all-star game in the country. I know the Ohio-Pennsylvania Big 33 is a very big one up there, but, like a lot of these local all-star games, a lot of the top kids don't play. Either they don't want to risk something or it's just not that important to them. But you don't get that in Alabama, Mississippi. It's usually best on best, the 5 stars, the 4 stars, and the sleepers all together. And I just don't know if that can be duplicated. Would you get the best kids from Florida? Would you get the best kids from Georgia or Tennessee to unanimously suit up? I'm just not sure. But it's one of the great luxuries of being in Alabama. Those kids have always wanted to play and represent their state. And the same could be said for Mississippi, and I think that's why it's been so successful.
I mentioned DeMontrez Brown a little bit earlier, a fabulous wide receiver committed to Troy. Troy's got a couple of other guys on here committed as well. It looks like Grant Betts and Jake Andrews, a couple of other guys committed to Troy. And Auburn's got 5 commits on here. Stanford has a commit. Georgia Tech has a commit. Ole Miss has a couple. And Alabama's only got 1. Is there anything to read into that?
Well, I think Alabama's got 1 right now. It's still pretty early as we look ahead to this game. We still got, 6 or 7 weeks or so before it kicks off. But, the higher ranked the kid, typically, the longer he's going to wait. So your Justin Rosses, your Seth Williamses of the world are still kind of hanging out, before they make a decision. And even James Foster, a kid who's been committed to Missouri, but we all have seen how the Tigers have looked this year, and it could their coach, might be on the hot seat. So he's a guy who could be looking around. He mentioned Alabama to me after watching him play on Friday night. So there still could be some more Crimson Tide love by the time the game actually kicks off. But certainly before signing day, I think you'll see at least a couple of more Alabama All-Stars electing to stay in state. But it is odd to see just 1 at this point.
When I talk about the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game, what memory immediately comes to mind for you?
Well, the Ruggs opening kickoff return, I think, is one of the top ones because he had such a great week. We knew he was great. We loved him last year, but compared to Nico Collins and Noah Igbenogany, guys who had been sort of receiver recruits for longer periods of time, you just wondered how Ruggs would stack up. And for us, it took about a day to realize, hey, he's probably the best of the bunch. And I think we've seen that so far in college as well. So for him to have a great week and literally start the game off with a continuation of that, I thought was really cool. And then sticking at the receiver position, Justin Johnson's catch a few years before that, the Hoover receiver who's now at Mississippi State, to win the game.
Yep.
I was right there. It was like he almost hit me with the ball. I mean, game on the line. I think it might have been Nick Mullins at quarterback. I mean, he just throws it up there. And Justin Johnson climbs the ladder and makes the catch to preserve, the 6 or 7 game streak at that point over Mississippi. So those are two of the key moments. Receivers have really been able to shine in this game, and I think, this roster looks like it could be more of the same.
I'll tell you a couple of names that really stand out to me is T.J. Yeldon had an unbelievable day at the Alabama-Mississippi game, and so did Rashaan Evans, if you remember his performance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The pick six. He had some sacks in that game. Yeah, he was dominant. Chris Jones dominant in that same game as well, I believe.
All right, John, how can everybody keep up with you? Tell them about the website and about your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still scout.com, scoutfootball.com. We will be on 24/7 all together here shortly. So, of course, 24/7 Sports, a great source for you as well. And the podcast, we're still talking Bama multiple times a week. If you're a Tide fan, we urge you to listen to Crimson and Blue Chips on Twitter at CABCPod. Real easy way to interact with us. And we'd love to take your questions and talk about what you'd like to talk about on.
Really quickly, do you think next year they're going to have to take 3 quarterbacks for the Alabama game?
Usually they take a hybrid guy who can play quarterback. I think Kadarius Toney did it last year, and Jason Smith before that point, guys who were dual threats. So if there's not that type of guy available, and I thought Cam Taylor would have been a good choice this year to do so, I think you might have to. You want to get guys the opportunity to break out, and I think maybe it'd be cool to get 2 of the big name guys and sort of a lesser known guy, maybe like a Swift Lyle in this class, or as I mentioned, Cam Taylor, who's a versatile guy who could play some receiver if you need to. I just think sort of the more the merrier. Maybe expand the roster as a whole. Because it's not just about the game. That practice week for a lot of those guys really changes things with their recruitment. It's very well covered. The access is unparalleled in terms of AllStar coverage. So I think, expand it by 5. Let's get Joyner in there. Let's get Provins. Let's get Taylor. Expand it off a little bit more and let a couple other guys represent the state and maybe play multiple positions throughout the week. It could help for the game as well in terms of special teams depth and things like that. So, if you want to expand it a little bit, add a quarterback, add whatever you can, I'll probably be for it.
All right, John, thank you so much, buddy, and we'll have you on again soon and talk to you Friday.
Thanks for having me.
That was John Garcia with Scout.com. He does an amazing job. You ought to check out his podcast. You don't have to be an Alabama fan. You can be any kind of fan. He talks overall recruiting. CrimsonandBlueChips.com. You can check it out on Twitter. Just look for Crimson and Blue Chips. Very easy to find. It's very easy to listen to as well. Just a couple of taps on your iPhone and you're there. Well, that's going to do it for Inside the AHSAA. We'll be back in just a minute to wrap things up.
So, you may not know it, but you've seen our work everywhere. For a combined 50 years, SignSource has been Central Alabama's premier option for all your sign needs. Custom signs for your business, club, or organization. Wraps and decals for your vehicle or boat. Full-color banners for your big sale, or a photo collage on canvas for grandma. All with fast, friendly, prompt service. Check out our website at signsourcenow.com. 888-533-6758. Go straight to the source. SignSource.
No, wrong! Bring it in, guys! Take a knee! Let's go over this again. Who starts off with a real Coke taste?
Coca-Cola!
And then Coca-Cola pitches the real Coke taste to who?
Coca-Cola!
How is Coca-Cola going to give real Coke taste to itself? Take a lap, genius! Coca-Cola takes a snap and then pitches the real Coke taste to Coke Zero running up on the right. You got it?
Yeah!
At that point, we fake punt the real Coke taste. Who fakes the punt?
Coke Zero Cola!
Take a lap! Coke Zero! Real Coke taste!
0 calories!
June will mark 10 years of providing quality t-shirts, athletic uniforms, and promotional products for Lee Apparel. Our success is due in large part to the customers we serve in the Lake Martin community and the great state of Alabama. Our hopes are for many more years of success and growth. Contact Lee Apparel today at 256-825-0197 or on the web at leeapparel.com.
What's behind the CA?
A world full of opportunities.
Where are you now? Where are you going?
Where do you want to be?
These are all important in determining your path in life.
More importantly, why be ordinary
when you can be extraordinary?
At Central Alabama Community College, you can be anything you wish to be.
Don't put your future on hold and don't settle for less than excellence.
We are Central Alabama Community College.
Central to you.
Central to your success.
Where there's action, there's Encore. Professional. Responsive. Dedicated. Encore Rehabilitation.
Team is not something you do alone. Team is plural. Team is arms, legs, blood, sweat, and soul. A lot goes into team. But what we take away stays with us forever.
Hunter Price is Coosa County's Alpha Insurance agent and has the knowledge to help you with all your auto, home, and life insurance needs. With Hunter and Alpha Insurance, you have a team of professionals to access your needs, save money, and give you the personal one-on-one service in your time of need. Visit our main branch in downtown Rockford or call us at 256-377-4955 for all your insurance needs.
Call Alpha.
What value would you gain working with Lee Marketing Group? With 4 divisions under one umbrella, Sign Source, Lee Apparel, R&B Media, and LMG Baker Advertising Agency, Lee Marketing Group offers a comprehensive approach. From logo design and branding to ad placement and everything in between, LMG can handle it all. For ease of time, cutting-edge, results-driven marketing campaigns, think LMG. Lee Marketing Group, your comprehensive marketing solution.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Inside the AHSAA. Thank you so much for being with us. We truly do appreciate it. Please stay with us each and every week. We'll always try to bring different variety of guests on so that you can get a feel for what's happening in the AHSAA. But right now, it's all football all the time, and that's what we're trying to bring to you. I want to thank Mr. John Garcia for being with us with Scout.com. He did a great job today. And I want to thank you for listening. We'll catch up with you again next week. Thanks for joining us on Inside the AHSAA.